Ma'am, welcome to the ANN podcasts.
Thank you so much.
First time I saw you was in the Women's Day, where you were talking encouraging a few of the ladies that are here. How did you start off with working in the airlines industry?
Well, I started my career in 1998 in aviation. Before that, I was a software programmer. But, working in aviation is really challenging especially for females, right? People don't take, positive, in a positive way, I must say.
Well, I think that it's not simply down to aviation, but the overall scenario of society, which is not really transformed in a way where they're accepting women taking on powerful positions.
That's right.
In the work. I was reading this article this morning where it said that men find working under women very, very challenging because perhaps they're not used to the idea of a woman who's high in the hierarchy of things. So I think it's more a problem in our society. But especially talking about the aviation sector, we also had the line manager of International Airlines come and say that there were very few women engineers working. So perhaps it's a bit more rounded than the aviation sector, do you think?
Yes, there are quite a few, but it is increasing, I must say. It is increasing, and we really have to motivate them, support the females, right? And, as you said, it's very difficult to work under women's. But wherever I have worked so far, within this 25 years of my life career, I bring them all together, and we create a very good family environment so that everybody can be open up and work, in a very good working space. We can make it. So even my colleagues, my junior staffs, they used to feel, we feel home. And I used to tell them, the more we spend more time at work rather than at home. We go to home only to sleep, but since morning till the evening, we spend time at work, right? So basically, office is home and home is office to me.
Yeah. Sometimes people are born in such a way that there is not a lot of distinction between who they are and what they do.
Yeah.
One of my favorite writers, Christopher Hitchens, said that writing is not something that I do, it's who I am.
Right. That comes automatically.
So how was the transition from a software programmer into the aviation sector? Because some of them might think that there's not a lot of connection between the two sectors.
True. I applied when I heard that Gulf Air is operating to Kathmandu in 1998. I thought of applying there, because since childhood, I really want to become a pilot then. But from my family, it was not allowed to go, do all these flyings. And even if I want to do the engineering, I have to go abroad for, higher studies and all. And where I was not allowed to go start Samudra Par and all. So, then I decided to be a software programmer. Then, after that, I got married and then I had a small baby. Then I came to know that Gulf Air is operating to Kathmandu. Then I thought of why not I should join them as a software programmer. I can develop airline software. So I applied there, and they said they hired me as a customer services. Rather than they said we have our own software programming, so we do not require the software programmer. However, we really want to hire you as a customer service, passenger service agent. So basically, I started my journey in aviation from the very scratch. Right? And then, slowly, flight departure times, we have to be standby 24/7. There were no such training schools and all where someone someone we are supposed to get the trainings from, someone could motivate us. You have to work like this, you have, and time bound, everything were there, and I used to have a very much, quarrel in family, I used to come back home around 1 a.m, and they used to say, no, we don't want you to work like this, what Samaj will say and all those things. So many things, it's a very, very, very challenging job.
Yeah, one of my friends who worked as a dancer, she wanted to pursue the field of studies of bachelor's in dancing. And her parents were really irate with her. So one of the things she did was, look, if you really think dancers are of such low quality, or you think that I might be doing nefarious things behind your back, why don't you come to the meetings? And she would always take her parents in whatever meeting.
Oh my God.
And after doing something like that for 6 months to 1 year, she won all of the confidence of her family. Then they started saying, maybe this...
Those challenges are really there for females, like...
Yeah, again, I mean, she was somebody who worked in the field of dance, and she only worked, say, for around 8 or 9 in the evening. But coming home at 1 a.m. in the morning would still be frowned upon, let alone to...
Alone, yeah. Yeah.
So after you worked in the non-programming field, are there any options for, say, female programmers inside the aviation sector as well?
There were some, but those were, like different fields, like ATC departments. There's so many departments. I really do not know, what is aviation then? Like when they interviewed me also, like they asked me, what do you know about aviation? I simply answered them, like I was not prepared for that thing, I was not prepared that they will hire me as a customer services and they will ask me something else. So they asked me, you have a baby, you are married, and what if you leave the job after 6 months, 7 months? And I told them clearly, they were from the people from Bahrain, they came to interview us. And I simply told them, if I enjoy my work, I'll work until I die. If I don't enjoy my work, I'll quit tomorrow. Right? And another question I still remember, they asked me, what was that, what do you know about aviation? I said, I do not know anything about it. I simply saw the walkie-talkie carrying walkie-talkie, female personal staffs. They used to carry walkie-talkie and they say, have a nice flight, welcome on board. I only know those things. And they said, you are a very genuine person, so we really want to hire you. Only that thing,
Yeah, I mean, it's very, very difficult to find genuine people. There's a friend of mine who worked in Deer Walk School, and the then principal once interviewed me. She wanted to hire a librarian, and she also knew that I'm somebody who reads books. And she asked me, do you want to work as a librarian for children from the classes 1 to 8? And I told her, look, I started reading after I joined my bachelor's studies. Before that, I wanted to become a cricketer, and all of my time was spent reading sports. So the books that I read now are completely different from what children are looking for. So you might not really find me all that useful as a librarian in your school, because I don't touch children. But
that's the fact, Yeah, that's the fact.
And it's something that she told, something that she encountered, that Nepalese, when they wanted to take a job, would say, I can do anything.
Yeah, that's right.
I know everything.
Yeah, that's right.
And they don't really open up with their applause.
Exactly.
And sometimes it becomes more like a pleasant surprise to the ones from outside. And given that she was a Japanese, she thought it was rather impressive. So I think it comes as a mild surprise to other people when you admit your flaws and say, I don't know things.
Yeah, I don't know anything. I didn't know also, I cannot lie, right?
Yeah.
And I told them, if you can train me, if you can groom me, then I can be groomed myself. That's the thing. And I used to tell the students now also, open up with everybody, you don't have to be scared, to talk with anybody. As long as the people in front of you understand what you are speaking, is more than enough.
Yeah, it is. It is. For people like us who are not primarily from the airlines industry or working in the aviation sector, some very generic terms such as towing or taxiing are things are terms that we find alienating. Rahul, an aircraft maintenance engineer, was talking to me and saying the airport was the plane had to taxi around.
Yeah.
So what is taxiing? No. Because when you say the word taxi to us,
something else,
we think it's a cab and something very different.
Yeah, taxing, towing, all those things.
So how then did you learn about the aviation sector? I mean, did they give you any particular classes?
Yes.
Was it something that you learned?
No, initially when I joined Gulf Air in 1998, 20th of June, Then, like for 20, 25 days, we were trained at the airport office itself. So the first flight operated on, on 2nd of July. So, no, 4th of July, I'm sorry. Then, like by then we have learned everything manually. The things were not systematic like these days, like we have to send all the messages, pre-departure flight, we have to prepare boarding pass, baggage tag, everything, we have to see in the system, like how many passengers traveling to Europe, even Europe, London, Paris, Frankfurt, Switzerland, so many sectors, right? And how many passengers traveling to London, we have to write it down, so that we have to prepare baggage tags and everything. Right, and even boarding passes, and we have to find out the groups, how many groups were there. We have to put all the groups together, and some may have the seat request, everything manually. We have to print out the things, write down. So even the flight departure at 7 in the evening, we have to be at the work at 9 in the morning. All right, and flight departure 7, if it's on time, it's flight delays, like 1 hour, 2 hours, it's 19, so that the post-departure message, once we finish the post-departure message, it will be 1 o'clock. So we were then only 2 staffs in passenger services. One of my colleagues is Ranjurai Maji, and me. We were hired for only 2 girls. And, like even at home, how even everybody's worried, like 1 o'clock, nobody's, we're not still there, right? And on top of that, the things were not like stable government, political situations. The Nepal bans were there.
So this was during the time when the Maoist strike was?
Yes. We used to walk to the work.
You used to walk to work?
Walk to work. We used to go in bicycle. All those, like things like, it's a story now.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Like stories.
Yeah.
So given that you live in Hathibai,
no, that time I used to live in Kupundol. But still far. Yeah. Still far. Yeah.
If you tell people that you've got to walk from Kupandol to the airport, somebody might be biting their tongue.
Yeah.
Even now.
Yeah. Even during Royal Massacre time, we used to stay at the hotel for a month. And even they used to announce for the curfew, so that even 2 people cannot work after the flight.
Okay. So you've got to do it all on your own?
Yes, we have to work, all alone. But the accommodation provided by the airliners, so that the operation should not be hampered, right? So, but going back to the hotel, it's also challenging, like it's a curfew time and we cannot walk together. If we walk alone, something might happen and nobody knows, right? We used to get to the hotel in, what do you call it, Tilganga, somewhere near. Airport hotel. No, not airport hotel. No, it was not existed that time. The Maharaja hotels and some other hotels are there. Yeah, some other hotels there. But walking from the airport till there also alone is a bit challenging during the night time.
It
right?
really is shocking. And given that you hear so many stories related to ghosts,
it's really like story, right? It's really like story.
So sometimes when I watch horror movies, even now, I've got to fret when I go to the bathroom around 1 or 2 p.m., let alone walking out in the open street when you've got a curfew. So how many years did you work in the airline sector?
Altogether, I worked for about 24 years. Yes. Started from 1990 till the last year, 2022.
Okay.
Very long time. I was with Gulf Air for 16 years. Then for entire year with Flight Dubai as a station manager. Yeah, and that time I already said, I took a break for something around two years to be with my daughter. Right, it's the right time to be with the daughters. They will go for study abroad, and once they get married, what is the time? Earning and working is always there, but the quality time is, I really don't want to miss that part.
Yeah, finding the appropriate amount of time you spend with your kids is, I think, a growing concern in every society.
Yes, and being a single mother, it is even more difficult, I must say.
It must be. So, say since the time you started at Gulf Air, and at the time when you ended at Gulf Air, things must have changed drastically for you individually and as for the general through an international airport as well. So what are some of the changes you thought were?
Well, the infrastructures of the airport, and still I must say, still need to improve a lot, right? I've seen lots of drastic changes in TIA, where we used to find only 8 to 9 counters when I used to work there, and they have extended another building there, and still it is congested now, right? Because of more flights coming in, and the passengers flow every day. Maybe 10,000 passengers come and go from that airport, maybe, right? So that thing is very much changed, and by then, when I used to work, started my career in 1998, and the time I left, I found the staffs were very groomed then and now, and the staffs were trained properly. They are getting the platforms, from where they can get the trainings, and they come for the interns, and they grow by themselves there.
Yeah, and I think that given the rise of the internet, it's
Yes.
become a lot easier to
Exactly.
work your way around the information flow. You've got many channels dedicated to aviation,
Yeah.
so you want to
But still, the people are not getting the proper jobs there. I must say, and people are not well paid.
people are not well.
Well paid, comparing to the if talking about myself, if you ask me, the position I was doing, that airport services manager, as a locally hired person, and the airport services manager who comes from the originating station. If we compare these two salaries, pay and all the privileges, it's almost 1/3, not even 1/3.
So one could say there's a massive gulf.
Massive gulf.
No. So why do you think that there is such a discrimination?
Because our government is not that strong, right? If our government has decided, this position should get this much in an average, if they have decided those things, then definitely nobody can say, like the third company from outsiders, they have to stick with that thing, right? Because we are the locals from here, and we have more responsibility than the person coming from the outsider to our country.
Yeah, well, there was an article in New York Times where certain airlines have decided to raise the minimum amount of wage that's given to people. I mean, given that in a country like the United States of America, the airport services are not closed, there are people who are working on the grounds who can't catch their breath. They can hardly sleep for 4 or 5 hours. Their health insurances are not covered, and with a lack of proper sleep, I think that you're inviting a lot of diseases. Well, there is the lure of money, but what are you going to do with it if you've got a chronic fatality that's going to kill you?
Right.
So, is this a problem that needs to be discussed, say, by the government itself or by CAN, or how does it work? Because for someone like me, I've got no idea how the power is divided between the government.
This should be through the government itself. And now there is a channel always, like why CAN, through CAN.
Through CAN.
Right? So, like CAN and we have a committee like Airline Operating Committee. And every committee and CAN, if we can talk together, unite together, we can push government, and government should also announce some good privileges, good pay to, like staffs and all. Then this position should get this much, and this position should get this much, these privileges. It's all about Labor Act, right? If our Labor Act manual is strong, then nobody can do anything.
Yeah, I mean, talking about bad pay at the airport, there are a lot of engineers who tell me that they pay airlines in order to get internship. Like, I think of internship as something as a freeloader. The one who's giving you the internship can take a lot of your labor without really paying you. But now I think it's going the other direction, in that the ones who want to become an intern have to pay a lot of money just to fix a few things, and it's a matter of...
This is what we have a manpower now, skilled manpower, but there are very limited places where they can work in, right? So the companies, if there are enough companies established and all, then they will hire the staff. But there are very limited companies, they can hire the staff, and they have very limited resources there, I must say, so, we have more skilled manpowers where they cannot move. So the interns, they only want to enter the airport, I must say, right? They just want to open the door and go inside, and they can find their opportunity inside that room.
Yeah.
So for that, they are ready to pay anything.
I mean, it shouldn't be that way for a lot of reasons. I mean, even if you take a look at the number of tourists who visit our country, it's increasing quite recognizably ever since the pandemic took place. And given that China has now eased down on the zero COVID policy, we have a lot of Chinese tourists as well. So everywhere you look at the tourism board, they talk about so many people are coming to our country, and they say we welcome you with a lot of open arms. But if you're letting so many tourists come, there should be a mobilization of the people within and creation of a lot of job opportunities as well.
It's always there, but what I should say is, during, those past days, we used to have a very decent tourist, I must say, because we have a decent airlines coming in, right? Or Star Airlines or boutique airlines, they used to fly to Kathmandu. So they used to bring all boutique passengers, classy passengers, and they spend good quality money also here in Nepal. And that's how Nepal government was making the good economic, it was a very good support to the country itself, right? But since the airline, they have launched budget airlines, they are bringing budget passengers, of course. Right? The budget airlines will bring budget passengers. Budget passengers will spend budget of money, very limited money. We can see thousands of people around, tourists around everywhere, right? But what kind of tourist?
Yeah, how much are they spending?
Right?
What are the values we're getting?
If the tourist is choosing the budget airlines to come to Kathmandu, they will definitely spend, they'll find 200, 500 rupees wala type of room. Right?
I got your point. There was a friend of mine who lived in Europe. And he told me that sometimes when the Europeans are engaged in bad behavior, for example, and since all of their health insurance or their food security is there, they send those naughty people to come to places like Nepal and see the rural life here, engage with the struggles, and then maybe they'll learn a lesson and do something back home. So if people like those come here, I think that your point is well reified, that we're not getting any value out of tourism.
Exactly.
Just racketing up the numbers, but sometimes we've got to also focus on the quality, maybe.
Exactly. Like we should stick with rules and regulation like Bhutan. Right? One person come and on average you have to spend $200 per day, right? If our government can do that, then it will be really good for us. And you won't believe, when we at the check-in counter, I used to work at the airport. Our passengers, they used to tell us, "Oh, I didn't know that Nepal has got so beautiful females, because Nepal is promoted in such a way that all the wrinkles faces."
Yes, I know.
Right?
I know.
Right? So that's how Nepal is promoted.
Yeah, there's a beauty myth that's always published.
Exactly.
So stupidly. There was a friend of mine who worked in the Himalayan Trust, which is an NGO that is run from the funding comes from the New Zealand government, and he once complained that in some of the books, say, which are handed out to kids, say you've got the word starting from B, beautiful. Well, there's a photograph of somebody of a Westerner who's typical, who has a lot of makeup around her face. She's tall, she's very lean, thin, and you see the word ugly, and you have people like our grandmothers who are there, and it automatically gives the impression that we are really ugly, and those are the ones that are really beautiful, and there's a subtle form of racism that's going around, and that we've got more people who feel insecure about themselves, more people, more female, and this applies more to females than male.
Yeah. That's how Nepal is promoted. I really want to tell this thing,
Yeah, it's really sad to think that ways. And after your stint with the Gulf Air, you joined
Fly Dubai.
Fly Dubai.
Yeah.
And do you think that was a massive transformation in terms of maybe the position that you worked in, or the work culture in general?
Well, work environment is almost same because working in a TIA, like one airlines to another. Even both airlines are from Middle East, so I didn't find that much difficult because I'm very much like enjoy. I really enjoy working, and I really enjoy the companies wherever I work. I just make them feel home.
Okay.
So no differences, no nothing such. But it's a bit challenging, of course, because Gulf Air they used to fly two flights a day, whereas the Fly Dubai they have 3 flights a day.
3 flights.
Yeah, so it's a little bit more challenging or harder, I must say, because taking care of 2 kids at home, back home, and again, all those things is.
So does that transform into longer working hours as well? The 3 hour, so the 3 flights that were conducted.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And did that not really take a toll on your, say, family life? Maybe.
This is why I quit my job from there, because that time, I hardly see my daughters. So I decided to quit from Fly Dubai.
It's
Yeah. Because I really do not want to miss those moments, and in a long run in future that Mamu, you didn't pay us that time then, of course, being a single mom, I said already, to reach from passenger service isn't till the position I am holding now, right? It's a long journey, and I could not complete that journey all alone. That was a big support from my 2 kids, right? If they didn't support, I cannot even imagine where I am today now.
Okay. You said that we got to know that you were the first female station manager in
Yes.
our country.
Yeah.
So what does a station manager really do? Because somebody like me who's
It's all about operation. I was in the operation. Well, I do not do any ticketing parts and nothing, right? Well, pre-departure flights, post-departure, safety, security of all passengers, safety, all those things, and communicating with the airport authorities, and does NOC, simulation, everything, each and every thing, weather, weather office, weather forecast office, and meteorological office, coordinating it with entire airport bodies, preparing schedules for, we start our summer schedule from end of March till the end of October.
My goodness.
Yes, and end of October, from end of March, it'll be a winter schedule. So the summer schedule is very challenging during the weather time. We have to work on all those things, if heavy rains, then no visibility. We have to work on that. And if the winters, it's poor visibility always in Kathmandu, right? Flight gets delayed. Same thing, passengers, angry passengers we have to handle, or disrupted, and all those things.
So is there a way that an angry passenger might put forth their grievances to a certain airline, say through email? Did you?
A lot.
And how do you handle these grievances? Is there a meeting that goes on behind?
It's all documented, right? Everything will be documented there. Yeah, everything will be documented there.
When I was flying from Chennai to Kathmandu once, I had a lovely person who was working in an airline, and a friend of mine had left her passport in my luggage.
Oh,
and the luggage was already there in the plane. So I was waiting at the terminal, and suddenly a call comes and says, "Look, my passport is there with you. We've got to fetch it." And I told the guy at the terminal, "Look, there's such a weird thing to tell you, but you've got to fetch my luggage, because once I'm here, it'll be extremely difficult for her to get the passport." And he made all of the necessary phone calls to all of the right people, and I eventually retrieved the passport, gave it to my friend, and I told him, "I'm really thank you. I didn't know that somebody could do something like that, fetch a bag when it's already been put inside the plate. And he told me, well, there's one thing you could do. If you could write to the customer department of our airlines and say that I've done something like this, then maybe it'll help me get promoted to a better position. So, and that's when I knew that airlines take the grievances of each of the passengers very, very serious.
If 1,000 passenger travel, then 1,000, not all 1,000 passengers will be happy, right? And they are very ready to write down the complaints by 999 passengers, where we only get one compliment from one passenger.
So I feel happy that I was one of them.
Yeah, very good. Congratulations for that.
Yes. So, and how's it grooming the students who want to work in the aviation sector? There are a lot of people who aspire to become flight attendants, cabin crew. How's the overall feel that you get from students?
Well, these days, we have got a very good platforms, right? Where they can go and train themselves to groom them, right? So, it doesn't matter if they have done the master's or bachelor's or +2 or anything, right? They have to be confident. They have done the master's, but they cannot speak up in front of anybody. And basically, in Nepali culture, whenever we ask somebody, you are trained for hotel management now, so what do you want to be? They'll simply ask, "Mo hotel khulchu." Right?
It's a general.
Yeah, it's general. Yeah, very much. And if we ask something about grooming, what do you know about grooming? They'll say simple makeup. It's not all about that, right? So they have to come out from that thing first.
There's still this perceived stereotype that
yes,
if a girl looks pretty, everything will be fixed automatically.
Yes, exactly. So it's all not that. So even if we can groom class 8 student also, if they speak very good confidently, that will be a very good example for them. You don't need to go to complete your master's to groom yourself then.
Right. I think that a lot of people who've got a lot of fancy degrees don't know a thing about it.
Exactly.
After I completed my master's in science, and I always wanted to be an astronomer, work in space science.
That was really good.
Yeah. I worked in projects related to black holes and all, and I did a bit of that as well.
That's so interesting.
I always felt that I wanted to become a writer. That was what I was heading to. And I joined Masters in Philosophy in English Literature. And I talked to a lot of students who had professionally studied English, and I thought, these guys should have studied a bit better, because somebody like me who primarily read science and did a few readings in literature in my free time shouldn't be topping these people, shouldn't be bettering the... And then I realized that this is a problem that everybody has. Everybody has a fancy degree, but doesn't really know what to do with it.
Exactly.
You go around in banks and there'll be cashiers. They know how to count money, which I think doesn't take a lot of expertise.
Yep, exactly.
They've completed their masters. Some of them might have been inching towards their PhDs, but I think that this is another of the problems that we have, in that students don't really know how to convert what they've learned into money. So they've learned hotel management, but they don't know how to run a hotel.
That's odd.
So
they simply knows I'm doing my hotel management. I'll get the degree. I'll open up my
hotel. And sometimes I feel that there's not a lot of passion as well. Somebody might talk about a few terms, talk in jargonistic ways, but they don't have that passion.
There's a saying in Nepali, like "Padera ko thulo huncha," right?
This might be something that doesn't apply simply to our country, but applies to many other countries as well.
They value them.
And that universities supplying them with degrees that are not really, that can't really be transubstantiated into something useful is a wider concern in general. So how do you normally pass your time? Say you said that you want to spend a lot of your time with your daughters. But apart from that, is there still a feeling of wanting to be close to the airport?
Of course, aviation is in my blood, I said. This is why I'm here connected somehow, since I left Oman Air, Oman Air station closed down, and then I decided I'll join somewhere else. But my daughter said, told me, and mommy, don't join anymore to the airport. It's 24/7 standby job, and you're all alone because both of my daughters are in US now. So there's no one to take care if something happens to you. So we are not there also, so do not do that. So I really do not want to give them more pressure, mommy is working at the airport and they are not sleeping, something like that. So I said, okay, don't worry, I'll not go to airport back.
Yeah, but you still go to programs that are connected to the airline.
Yes.
We met last time around. We met at BAN, the Best Airlines Award in Nepal. There's somebody I was talking in that award ceremony, and somebody told me, and I didn't know how to respond to this. Somebody told me, look, there's so many plane crashes happening in our country, and here are these people who are suited, and they're saying, look, we're so good, we supply so many good things to the aviation sector, and I was taken aback.
Incidents can happen anywhere, anytime, right? One aircraft accident spread the message all over the world. But who has noticed, there are almost 4,000 to 5,000 people died in motorbike accidents and other things, right? Yes. So those cases, nobody knows about it.
Nobody knows.
Right? But airline is so, people, they have their eyes into the airline aviation thing, That's why I used to say it's a luxury airline, so that everybody's eye is there.
Yeah. We were talking to an instructor who came here from Italy by the name of Pure Matteo, and I told him we had an accident and there's a lot of uproar about it. And he said, on that very day, there was a crash in Italy as well.
Oh.
But it was military airline, so nobody really cares about the military. Didn't they think?
Yeah. That's what so many things are, it's like hidden, something like that, nobody knows about that, right? Yeah. Even today, maybe so many accidents had happened in the roadside, right? But nobody realized that thing.
Yes,
even that is a part of transportation sector. Even airline is a transportation sector. Even that thing is the transportation sector department, right?
And I don't think that the road department of Nepal gets a lot of criticism, given that
exactly
people who've died from road crashes than people killed in the Maoists' insurgency. So when I first read that statistics, I was blown away. I thought, there must not be so many people who die in bus accidents and bike accidents, but if you dig up the research, it's there for everybody to see.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And I heard that a station manager is sometimes also responsible for communicating about the things inside the airlines to the general public as well.
We do have to sometime.
So I think that part is particularly lacking in our country, given that not a lot of people know about, say, first the etiquette. If you go inside an airport, or if you get inside an airline, there'll be people who are wanting to pull each other out just to become the first one to get out of the plane. That's one thing. But as I said, even I don't know a lot of terms related to terminologies, or words related to aircraft, just simple things such as towing, taxing, all of these things. But what can the government do in order to get the word out, disseminate a bit of information?
Well, I'll not go negative in this thing, the things has changed a lot in civil aviation also. Where we used to, long time back, there were like you said, the things were not disseminated earlier, but these days everything is mobiles, everything is in hand now, right? If you want to check in right now, you can do the check-in before you reach to the airport, report to the airport, right? So everything is in our fingertips. So things has changed. If you want to know something about the civil aviation, what's happening around the world, we know that, right? But of course, there are a few things they can still change it, upgrade the civil aviation rules and regulations. That is always there. we nobody knows about COVID will come and COVID will transform so many things, right? So those are unexpected things. COVID came 2019. Then airline policy has changed. So many policies they have changed. I mean, like each and everything. 814 IC 814 hijacked from Nepal in 1998, something like that, right? Then security safety measures, bettered. It's always something like that. Learn from mistake. And since everything is drastically changing around the globe, even people from let's say from America, they also learn from something different, mistakes, right? The Twin Tower was attacked, and the things were so much changed there.
Yes, and then the airport security.
Yeah, exactly. That's what. So let's not say like the civil aviation is not doing this. They have done a lot, but still everything's changing, and they'll slowly do more.
Sometimes we tend to become like kids in that everything should be handed out to us. Sometimes the onus is on us.
Yes, of course. Yeah. Yes. If I want somebody to be disciplined, I have to discipline myself, right? Then only I can expect something else from the person sitting in front of me.
On that very excellent note of personal discipline, we'd like to end it today, and I hope we'll talk to you sometime.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.